See, most things that we trade, most underlying, are not actually tradable. Most of the underlying assets are not possible to trade. So for instance, the S&P 500 index is not tradable. You can't trade the S&P 500. And that might sound like an odd statement, and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody is yelling at the computer and telling me how wrong I am at the moment, but lucky for me, your microphone is muted and mine is not. So let me explain what I mean. The index itself, it's just a calculation. There's no way to trade it. Now you can trade S&P futures. They're pretty close. You can trade the SPY tracker, which holds a basket of stocks to replicate the performance of the index. It's not exact, and it's still not the index. It's close enough, but it's not the index. Now, perhaps I'm splitting hairs here when I'm talking about the S&P 500 because that is extremely close. You find products that are extremely close to the index. But with many assets, you cannot get even close to the index. Most commodities and many other markets, you cannot trade the underlying or anything near it. So the big mistake people are making is that they analyze the index, or rather the underlying asset. Like you look at the spot crude oil, for instance, and then you go and trade the futures. They're two different things. Now, let me demonstrate what I mean by that with the most extreme example I could come up with to make a point. What you're looking at here is the VIX index, meaning the American Volatility Index. And this is a very long-term graph. If you pay attention here and look closely at this graph, you see that it starts around 16, it ends around 16, and this is from 2004 to 2018. During this time, it had pretty big moves. It was all the way up over 60, it was down by 5 more or less, up and down, but in the end, it looks like here, if you took a long position in 2004, you had a pretty wild ride, but by the end, you had pretty much the same money. That's very far from the truth. See, in reality, if you would have bought the VIX futures in 2004 and just rolled them every month to the next liquid one, the most active contract, as one would do, the only way to stay with it, you would get the performance of the black line here. And of course, that looks absurd. I'll help you with the math. You would have lost over 95% of your money, while the index was at pretty much the same levels the whole time. Well, not the whole time, but from the beginning to the end, it started and ended at about the same value, and you would have lost 95% of your money.